wait 1 second.
Mhm.
It'll be official.
Mhm.
I'll watch Zoom. It says it's being live streamed. I don't believe it until this screen changes. Okay, there we go.
All right, great.
Before the live stream, go right ahead.
All right, thanks for joining. We're gonna go ahead and get started. In the room we have, it looks like everyone's a member. Should we still do introductions or anything, or?
I don't know. Chris, I'm not sure if you're able to talk. Chris,
As a regular
have you joined
joiner.
us for a meeting yet? I can't recall if you've been
Yeah.
interested.
Yeah, no, I came to last one as well.
Yeah, Chris has joined previously, so I think. I'm just gonna go ahead and share our agenda. We're discussing sort of the cadence of the meetings and whether or not anything should be changed, because sort of following the summer where there's a lot of activity and whatnot, it seemed like the fall maybe is a slower time for whatever reason. We just couldn't, no one had any topics they wanted to discuss in particular. So we thought we'd just sort of go through and see what kind of came up organically. But just looking at some of the old business, in terms of grant updates, we went kind of into detail last time with that really extensive update the city provided, which was great. Updates on not only transportation grants, but every grant that the city had applied to, which is, something that was really fun to take a look at. But aside from that, there's no other updates for anything.
I didn't ask for a grant update because, I don't think that anything new has changed since
Okay.
last time.
There was that announcement about the Rondout funding, which I did take a look at. It wasn't sort of specifically related to transportation in any way, I don't think, but it was more, I think, resilience against climate change with the beach and that area around sort of the dog park and the parking lots, right?
Well, I'm not sure which one you saw. So I know that the local waterfront development project, I believe, has started. So that's a project where the city in the past has had a plan for developing the waterfront.
Mhm.
This is going to be the next iteration of that. So that
Okay.
project, I believe, has kicked off. There's I think a project advisory committee that will inform how, it'll be a visioning document for how the waterfront can be developed. So that's one project. I don't have any more details than that, but we could look if you want. The other one is, I know at Rotary Park, where the dog park is. I know that project manager is doing great work there. They are where it floods in the parking lot all the time now. They are getting rid of that parking lot. They're improving the parking lot that is section that's going to stay there. I think there's some other improvements happening to that part of I guess I would call that Kingston Point Park. It's sort of next to Rotary and across the street from the beach.
Great. Yeah, I think what I'm referring to was the announcement that was in the press about it was 1.5 million. But yeah, it's good. I've often wondered what the situation was with that part. They let flood now, because I understood the idea of letting it go back to nature, but the idea of nature just flooding paved area, I was like, that doesn't seem.
I think they're remediating something.
Yeah, so they're actually gonna start like removing the.
Don't hold me on that. I'm
Yeah.
not really sure, but I think that's part of this project is the sort of giving it up back to nature.
That's,
This idea.
yeah, that makes sense, because the other way it just sort of, they let it flood now, sort of seems.
Yeah.
Like yeah. All right, well, that's promising. And then, so no updates on the voting on the projects or anything like
So
that?
the participatory transportation safety
Mhm.
program, no, so you all recall, we went through a process of selecting some potential projects. We narrowed that down through an internal review, and my understanding is it's still on the mayor's desk right now, so I haven't got a date on that since then. So we continued on that one.
Great. So we did provide you with the letter on time to support the bike share program, which is terrific. I saw actually a really interesting article that actually my father-in-law sent me. He lives outside of Philadelphia, and it was about basically people using, especially young people using e-bikes that are more powerful than sort of local laws might allow, but there's sort of like the law enforcement hasn't caught up with these sort of I don't know, you want to call them ghost e-bikes or what, but people are using them in places like rail trails and wherever they might use a bike, but these are more powerful than the sort of regular bikes and even regular e-bikes that would be on those trails, and they have caused accidents and people are getting injured. And it was just an interesting article, just sort of thinking about, and then sort of immediately after I read it, I saw a kid on the sidewalk on Broadway in a motorcycle helmet on one of these e-bikes, and I was like, oh, I guess that's what the article was referring to. So it's scary thinking about this kind of stuff in relationship to our own e-bike program that's moving along and how they will interact with one another. And yeah, if KPD is sort of aware of the challenges that e-bikes can bring to the table, because if you just think all e-bikes are the same and they're all loud, then they wouldn't even think twice. But then all of a sudden you have e-bikes that are
more powerful.
yeah.
And they are getting faster.
Yeah. In this article, they even refer to
50 miles an hour. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like,
I was wondering, is there a speed limit on the, for being on the sidewalk, on the trails for a e-bike or even a bicycle?
I believe so.
I thought there was, so that should give them the impetus or the teeth to prohibit or ticket or do whatever one of those bikes if it's going over what that particular.
Right. We need John Brooksmore in here.
Yeah. Just
At least on the linear park, it's 15 miles an hour.
Okay. Wow. Yeah.
And it's probably posted on the like park rules sign. That's probably there,
nowhere else.
Yeah.
right? Because it's not like posted like a speed sign is on a street.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you for that. Yeah.
it's gonna be tough to enforce too on the trails.
Right. You have to, I guess presumably a cop would be stationed at the sort of street intersections, and then they're slowing down anyway.
Or
Yeah.
complaints. It'd have to be happening often enough for there to be a complaint to
Right.
have somebody there.
Mm-hmm.
Some kind of camera.
That could work.
More stuff.
Yeah.
I started noticing it too as I get involved with this. So now I'm starting to read and pay attention.
Yeah.
Faster and faster and more common.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's something that we'll probably see more and more. We'll probably start hearing about, frankly, I would guess. Have you had signups for your bike ped master plan or bike ped count? I know I can't do it this time around, unfortunately.
Sure, yeah, and announcements and communications, you'll see I've got a mention of the annual pedestrian bicycle count that's happening, so it's happening right now. There are four volunteers out there on 4 different intersections, counting walkers and cyclists. I have one last opening on Saturday. I think that's always the hardest one to fill. Nobody wants to give up their Saturday. I understand why. In fact, we'll see how this goes, but in fact, we were just looking at the cameras that are at the intersections, and there may be the ability for us to count cyclists and pedestrians through that
that's
technology going forward. So we're sort of we're gonna do our hand count as usual. And then Phil, who has come to this meeting before, he's gonna help us look through that data and see if he can use it, the technology to do it, and then we're gonna sort of use the hand count to
Yeah, see how it
round trip
matches
to
up.
make sure that it's,
Yeah.
getting the same results. And then if that works, maybe we might go forward and maybe not have to recruit
Yes.
volunteers to sit on a sidewalk for 2
You
hours.
can record the data all the time. I mean, that would be incredible.
So I don't think it's being recorded, but I think that the cameras are being I think the police department can see them in real time.
Mm-hmm.
And then while there's a certain number of weeks of information, 10 to 2 weeks or something. And I think Phil can go back and do certain queries and look for a vehicle with 2 wheels. And then look through all of these images and see if they are bicycles. So I don't know actually if it'll be
Okay.
successful, because it might
It's
still
early
be quite
days.
onerous.
Yeah.
But we're exploring this new technology, and it's a little scary how much data is actually being captured. But for this, it's kind of a really interesting application for it.
Because Kingston, there's no loops in the streets that would do it, in the streets that would do it that way. They used to have the loops that would count And they were embedded into the pavement. I don't think we have any of those.
So I don't know if Chris is able to talk about that, but I believe that there is counting that happens on our streetscapes for vehicles very regularly, and New York State has an annual
Those sort of
vehicle traffic map that you can
Lines
see.
that cars drive over, those kind of things.
Well, sometimes Ulster County Transportation Council does their own counts and you'll see the tubes on the road. But I believe New York State has a map of average daily traffic for
Okay.
all of our roads. I don't know how often they do those counts, but I think that's what you're thinking of.
Yeah.
But what, they usually don't pull out the data of walkers and cyclists.
Okay.
So this is a
This is
separate
For
program.
walkers and
Yeah.
cyclists, okay.
Right, that's our ultimate goal. I don't-
Emil, I was gonna say, a while back when we were talking with the city engineer, he mentioned the brand of the cameras, and I did some digging and I saw this. He did mention that it was a possibility, but it was kind of expensive for the city to opt in to getting that analytics data. Maybe that changed, but I do have like some information. I'm gonna try to find it. That company also offers like a lot of like white papers and stuff that is really interesting. So I'll try to find it and share that with the group.
That'd be great. Chris, I see you unmuted. Did you want to chime in?
Yeah, well, I posted in the chat the New York State traffic counts viewer. New York State DOT constantly does traffic counts across the state, basically during all seasons. And I don't know how they do their rotations, but they do them. I know that individual municipalities can do the same. Kingston, I believe, did some earlier at some point during the summer. And for us, we recently, at the beginning, I think it was the second week of September, did traffic counts in the 90 separate locations across the county as well. I think they posted that actually on the Facebook page for the county. We use cameras. Our contractor is NDS. They use the cameras poles that set up to count vehicles. Sometimes, as was mentioned before, you put those little tubes across the road too that people drive over. The cameras seem to be, what I've heard, safer for crews to set up. Although I suppose they can be a little bit more alarming for individuals to see that there's suddenly a camera here. But yeah, this is as you can see, the traffic counts unit. If you zoom in, it does take a little while to like load individually, but you can see where they have continuous counts, other sorts of things like temporary counts, that sort of a thing going on. And it is true that you could do pedestrian and cyclist counts too, but it does actually cost extra to do that, unfortunately. And you also might want to set them up in different locations than we chose. What I did setting up the counts this time around was to select roads that wouldn't be counted by the state DOT, so none of the major state highways and that sort of a thing. Like, wanted to do arterials and collectors, where over the past year, based on the state's data here, the average speeds recorded were above the posted speed limits. So that's what our counts were for. We haven't gotten the data yet, but we will shortly. And then we will also upload to this portal as well so that it can see, along with all the state data here. So.
Cool. Thanks for all that information. That's great to know.
Thank you.
They
So
don't
that's-
always do counts. Sometimes they're imputed year to year. I think they're on 3-year rotations. If you click on the site dashboard there, it'll tell you when it was like officially counted by a real physical thing versus them kind of doing the estimates. But I mean, the estimates are constantly being calibrated, but still, I think you should be able to see.
This is so much information.
Yeah. There's a lot going on.
Wow.
You can see the count type for class and volume. So this might tell the difference between just something passed by versus this is a truck versus a car, passenger vehicle, that sort of a thing.
Cool. Count histories.
Travel trend. So is that like number of trips? It kind of like goes down and then back up again.
Yeah, so the AADT is the average annual daily traffic. So the amount of vehicles you could expect to count, go past the location on any average day. I forget the exact calculation how they come up with the average, but it's Yeah, it went down because COVID, we had
Just,
some.
sorry, where
There was less
bubble,
traffic
the
at that
bubble's kind
time.
of blocking the rest of the numbers.
Bubbles blocking.
There you go. Yeah, so it's kind of steady and then it went down for COVID, then it's kind of been kind of steadily going back, like up and then above what
Yeah,
it was.
that's fascinating.
Broadly speaking, like within the state and also nationally, the average, your vehicle miles traveled have roughly recovered to where they were and have continued as if nothing had changed mostly. So yeah, you see the recovery there.
Mhm.
Travel patterns are a little different depending, but for the most part, the number of trips hasn't gone away, unfortunately.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is the first time I've seen, I haven't seen this site information like this before. So it's really giving you a lot of data about the different vehicles. I didn't realize wow, that's so much data. Fascinating.
Yeah, you got a lot going on.
Yeah.
Will you send this around, Emily? Can you?
Well, how about I can put a link in the
Yeah.
notes if you'd like.
Yeah,
I'll
perfect.
link to that. Yeah.
Thank you.
It'll come up if you're just searching in Google for NISE traffic data. They have a whole page dedicated to explaining all this stuff as well, along with this interactive viewer.
Cool. All right. Thank you for that.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, more than you ever wanted to know about traffic counts.
And not be a traffic engineer.
Also, just while I see that this agenda item about us sending out the letters, we had sent it, the UCAT change letter to, Director Rosner, I believe her name is, and at Ella's suggestion, Ella took it and sent it to 3 or so more people.
The who?
Ella sent the UCAT changes letter that was written about the movement, the move of the depot from Herzog's to
CSS.
and Ella, since we didn't hear back from the director, Ella thought it'd be good to send it to a few more people, so she sent it to other people at the county level. I don't think we still have heard anything back, but at least more people have eyes on it. And then I believe there's also a meeting after this meeting about those changes.
Is that happening today?
Yeah,
I'm trying to look that up.
so
Yeah, I believe there's a listening session that's later on today.
right.
I have the link if anybody wants it.
The link to find out more about it?
Yeah, do you
No,
want to drop it in
actual
the chat page and we can
The
share
listening
it?
session. Yeah, Rosemary sent out an email. I don't know if she sent it to everybody, but I have that. I can forward it to Emily and she could send it out or whatever. I thought she sent it to everybody. Let me check. I signed up for it.
Why
Let me find it.
don't you just email it to the Complete Streets group? No need
Yeah.
to send it to me.
You can
Oh, yeah.
follow.
It was a whole group of other people. Yeah. It was, okay. I'll forward it right now. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
And then so this is no, not this weekend. It's next week. The conference at the Best Western, right?
Yep. This is the Empire State Greenways Conference, and yeah, so I see that Rose is presenting, also the county and the mayor are presenting about the Green Line Network and about other trails.
Are those gonna be recorded? Do you know anything about it?
Probably.
Yeah, it'd be fun to get recordings of the ones that are Kingston centric, especially.
Yeah. I think it's an in-person conference. I was just at a different conference at our Best Western, which I think is so interesting that conferences are coming to Kingston now.
Yeah. What was this one you went to?
The one I went to was for our grant specifically. It was for the Creating Healthy Schools and Communities grant. All of the other grantees around the state all came to Kingston, and we got to show them around the great work that we're doing here. That was really fun
That's good.
to show off a
That's
little
very
bit.
cool.
So they didn't live stream or record the conferences, but I'm guessing that most places have that ability if they wanted it, so I Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Jeanette Sadiq Khan is the, like, the plenary speaker. She did a lot of really wonderful transportation work in New York City. She's the one responsible for a lot of the bike lanes, the parking, the parklets, the city bike, and improving the bus system in New York City. So I'm very excited to see her speak.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a shame it's during the week.
Just emails. Okay, great. Thank you. Then I think the last thing was about the Linear Park design.
Right, the survey's closed, right? So I know that they had been sort of accepting feedback on ideas, which I believe is now closed, but the work is ongoing, and hopefully it'll be interesting to see if they release the results of those surveys to see what people think of the linear park and sort of the direction it should be going.
The survey might still be open.
Put a link there, yeah.
Oh, no, just kidding. It has
Okay.
I think they are still doing quite a bit of community engagement though. So I think that people should keep watching this space. I think there's still some opportunities to give input.
All right. Wait, so where are we in this timeline? Are we still at the very, very top?
This one,
On the right, there's that's
Yeah.
like
I
a,
don't know if this is updated or not.
oh
I
yeah,
don't know if
site
they've
analysis.
preliminary design yet.
So, yeah, early days.
Yep. Yeah.
So I did recently go to my first event at the LYE Parklet, which has been doing all kinds of events. We had Ari here. As when you were unable to join the meeting, Emily, but Ari started a little parklet over near the school on Washington Ave. And they've been doing events, yeah. And they've been doing events there. And I got to see Dean Engel, who is an employee at the Friends of the Historic Kingston, give a little talk on the historic urban renewal project and how it's affected Kingston. And he had lots of great photos. So it's very nice to have a little Kingston history lesson in this reclaimed part of the street. It had nice chairs and a little cookie spread from Dyson's, all this other nice stuff. So, very cool. Yeah. All right, is there anything else anyone wanted to discuss? As everyone knows, this was a sort of short agenda.
Did anybody see the article about Dave in Kingston Wire?
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
Should I email that to everybody, a link?
Yeah, I didn't think sure.
Please don't.
I asked Dave before I did that.
Learn my lesson. I'm not doing any more interviews. I'm not doing any of that stuff. That was just worded very strangely.
Oh.
And that's what happens when you have a friend, or sort of friend, that paper and somehow or another, it just got spewed out really weird. Well, like it made it sound like I'm making a map with you and then I'm doing this with something and that. My grandparents had a bakery in Kingston years ago, and I explained to them it was in 2 locations, one on Broadway, and then eventually it moved to where the Salvation Army is on Cedar. And that just turned into, they had a bakery at the Salvation Army on Broadway, and I'm going, that doesn't make sense either, and it was just,
Yeah. I think
it just was not.
Oh.
That's
I
a
learned less.
It's this.
I'm gonna learn. Or the other things I haven't done in the past, so hopefully you didn't think it was horrible and it's just me.
I enjoyed it. I thought it came across very nicely.
Okay.
It was a nice, I mean, it was a nice insight to what your family is. And I mean, for people who, like me, have only been here 4 years, I don't know the history of Kingston. So it's nice to read kind of this, your roots and everything. I'm trying to see if I can share it. Kingston Wire is a little odd about how they do it, but I'll figure it out.
The pay site, whatever. Thankfully.
What is the mapping project that you're working on and who are you working with?
So that's with Ulster County, and that is, let's see, Defino, Ginger Defino had called me. And Ginger was working on a map and she had asked my opinion on it, and we discussed how it doesn't really work for handicapped people. And she's like, good, because that's what we were thinking too. And we started looking at some stuff, and eventually over the next year, that map will get fixed and it will have a clickable section on each spot that'll talk about things that we need for whether it's wheelchair accessible, what the ground is like, what we're gonna actually have pictures of it. Basically, all the things we have to do when we have to go somewhere. We have to make all these phone calls and look up.
It's like
all
your
these things.
recon, like basically like your advanced team, sorting everything out. That's gonna be great.
Excellent.
Are you improving a map that already exists or is it a brand new?
I think they're starting a whole map, I think.
Cool.
It seems like something new, and the old one didn't work.
Guess countywide.
And nobody was really using it because it's very unusable.
Okay. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what it was that,
I'll try to find it.
Yeah,
I just have to look it up.
Yeah.
But it was interesting. It's just, it didn't have, it was very hard to use. And I told her that right out. I'm not the most savvy guy, but I am pretty savvy, and I'm going, I can't even figure out how to use this thing to figure anything out. And I don't know why somebody would. And they all agreed. So they actually thought it was a good thing. And we need to fix those parts and put in all the little things. So, what the bathrooms are. And my suggestion was, let's get a picture of each thing and then have that there so that the person doesn't have to go do all those steps. It's clickable, it's right there, and you go, okay, that terrain I can actually do because not everyone, they say something's wheelchair accessible. It's not always accessible to every wheelchair.
Sure.
And that makes a big difference. For me, I can go on anything.
Right, not everyone.
Not everybody has this. And that's it.
And then, if I might ask them to also do a audio description of the terrain.
All that,
Because-
yes.
If you can't see it,
Yes.
you can at least hear,
That, those would be all the things that would be included, like literally every sort of thing.
Yes.
And they seem very, open. So
That's
that
great.
was a good.
Would your contact be interested in maybe coming to a meeting?
Yeah.
Talking, yeah.
Again,
Talking us through.
And that was the whole thing, as I was explaining to him, because again, he was also a friend, his daughter played in the band with me, so we were kind of chatting, and then he kind of took pieces and what he cut. I talk a lot, so I told him all these different things, and then he cut pieces, so some of it makes sense, and then the other parts, and it's like, and I'm gonna make this happen, and I'm gonna do it, and I'm like, I didn't say it that way.
Yeah.
And it just felt weird when I read it back, and I'm not used to doing that kind of thing, so.
it happened.
But I learned really quick.
I once answered like every question, and the only thing that went to the paper was, I don't know the answer to that question.
That's how it felt to me. I literally explained it all. I explained how it's happening. I'm like, that's the one radio station. I was like, makes sense. He's like, he did a radio show, but she's already, a lady called him from that, and I'm like, it's not what I said.
Well, we'll all read it with a grain of salt.
It's okay. I'm sure anybody who didn't know what you knew about it thinks it's perfect.
That's what I'm hoping. I got so nervous after I read it. I didn't even talk to him after. I was just like, I'm never looking at that again. I'll share that on my page. Don't anything, please. It just felt weird. Kind of like my big gigantic description my wife helped me make, and one of my friends.
Well, that's good. Yeah, thank you for your, just everyone who
Oh,
has
yeah, I have to
consented.
do that. Okay, all right.
Everyone has to send a photo or a brief or longer
No,
bio
we went back to brief.
that we can add to the Complete Streets page on the city's website. It's welcome. Now that we are complete, Complete Streets Advisory Council with no more vacancies.
And it's really up to you. You don't, I mean, we would like it, but Claudette, you don't have to.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll do. Do anything. But
Mine was so long.
The only picture I have is from many years ago, so I'll do a thing, but I don't know if I have a picture I can put
Yeah.
there.
Sure, yeah, whatever you're comfortable with or whatever you think.
I left Bob out there because he is still technically the council liaison. Let me know if, yeah.
That seems
Well,
fine.
that's fine.
Great.
is it possible, I know it's probably we do invite, but is it possible that we could get the different aldermen, councilmen to sit in on at least one meeting and find out what the issues are of their particular wards?
Can you clarify more what you're asking? Do you want all?
Well,
What do you want?
well,
Like a rotating,
like a rotating,
Yeah.
these are the concerns of the people of Ward 6 that maybe we haven't identified, or Ward 7, or just, I don't know, just something that makes it seem like we're getting more of a representation of.
we can certainly reach out to them,
I mean, if they don't come, they don't come.
especially after maybe the upcoming election, because then we'll have some new faces.
Or maybe just invite the new ones and just say, this is who,
Yeah.
this is who we are, and if your,
Yeah.
constituents have concerns, you can, let us know and come to me. Just something that maybe we have a better sense of who, I've been out and people have said, oh, well, my alderman, I don't know who it is. I don't necessarily can say, well, oh, you're in Ward so-and-so, I will tell them to contact 311 or call, but I'm just saying it might be helpful.
No, I think it would be really nice to be able to put some faces and some names even, I certainly don't know all the older people. So. All right, great. Is there anything else anyone wanted to?
We'll definitely check in with the county end of that and see if I can.
Yeah, if the person you're in contact with,
I also met with Dina Suggs, who is the new, what is she? Dina is the new, look that up for me. I forget. They
I'm
got,
familiar, but I can't.
she,
Chief Diversity
that's
Officer.
her.
okay, I saw the
Met
articles
with
about
her,
that,
we
yeah.
talked about, I think, different programming initiative. And I went to the RCal, fair,
Mm.
and we had a think tank talk more about that, which is really good. Starting to infiltrate that area and start
Sure.
talking to them. She was fantastic, actually. We had a great meeting. We actually. Okay.
Great.
Okay, it's gonna be a good thing.
Yeah, sounds like some real progress.
Yeah, see if they follow through, but,
What, RCAP?
no, actual Dina Suggs would do it. Jen Metzger would do it, and Gina Hansen, one of the legislators. And anybody else who wants to do it, anybody from our group wants to,
Yeah, once the details get nailed down, send it.
provide chairs.
Yeah.
I just think it's a different, my idea for it was some people will start looking at, they think I'm just complaining, or it's just, they don't really see it. And
Oh, yeah, I have-
totally seeing it through my lenses when I use my glasses and do that. I'm like, if you down there and you actually do this, then you're gonna really understand, because the truth is, I didn't understand it for 20 years with my dad. So, and then once it happened to me, it was like, oh, you were right, I gotta fix this.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not going to jump off.
All right. Well, great. Well, thank you everyone for joining. And I think with that, I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Okay, I got one more thing, beyond me.
Yeah.
Does anybody have a problem? So I've been granted, gifted
Bye, everybody.